Why, hello, everybody. Today, we will be reading one of my own fanfictions called The Tale of the Multiverses. Now, here's a bit of context about this. This fanfiction is definitely still a work in progress, and it is about not just one or two video games like is normally on fanfiction.net, but it is on about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 video games. And that's just like franchises in general. It's a very big project, but it's a project that I've been wanting to create for the longest time. And it's something that I want to dedicate my life to, creating this fanfiction that's fantasy and adventure and comedy, and it's just something I've wanted to create, and I thought to share it with you guys that I could read it aloud, and maybe I could do that with my other fanfictions if you guys wanted, but I thought it would be fun to read it. So today, since the first few chapters are very short because I didn't know if I was going to quite get into the project quite yet, I'll just be reading those as a group, and this can be kind of like a pilot episode for this. So, without further ado, The Tale of the Multiverses by Mr. Morton127, which is me. Even though you will hear this on Calamity Morton's channel, because this falls in the video game category more than what I have on my other channel. Anyway, let's begin. The Tale of the Multiverses, Part 1, In the Beginning. Luck of the draw, or meant to be. Our lives are impacted by forces we cannot explain, often change for a reason we will never totally understand. However, when people are touched by the hand of fate, they know it. Whether fate brings them their heart's desire, or if forever closes the door to their dreams, the path that has brought them to that point is clear, and fate's irony is unmistakable. Thomas Wilson. Disclaimer, I do not own most of the things in this fanfiction. All characters, worlds, items, magic spells, etc. belong to their own respective video game developers. Thanks. Another disclaimer, while several video games are included in this entry, like 20, this fanfiction can be read and understood without any context, as everything is, at least eventually, thoroughly explained as if it is brand new. Double thanks. List of games in the Tale of the Multiverses. Minecraft Dungeons plus all DLCs, Minecraft Legends, Mario, everything in the general franchise, but also the spin-offs. Don't Starve Together, and all the DLCs from that game, Terraria, Subnautica, Sea of Thieves, Stranded Deep, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, Subnautica Below Zero, Roblox Doors, Undertale, the Henry Stickmin Collection, Stardew Valley, Minecraft Earth, Minecraft Story Mode Season 1, A Hat in Time, and Hogwarts Legacy with only the spells. Now, let's get into the story. In the beginning, there was nothing but darkness, an empty void. Then there was a galaxy. The galaxy had stars, planets, moons, and space good. Then there were more galaxies, more and more and more. Then there were two groups of galaxies, universes. The second was not any side of the first, any direction. It was in the same place, yet in another plane of existence. Next, the duo of universes, unbeknownst of their coexistence, multiplied. Eventually, there were countless universes. We may know them as things like Minecraft, Super Mario, Terraria, Subnautica, Don't Starve, etc. All things existing within their own worlds, creatures, tales of them, physics. Finally, after so much peace, cosmic beings, gods, beyond recognition, decided it was time to stir things up. A colossal meteor, so powerful and large it could tear the fabric of reality itself, was sent from the void of space and tore through the multiverses, pulling galaxies upon galaxies into it with its immense gravity, and then the cosmic beings had it implode, and all the universes were taken into it, and then scraps of those universes reformed, with their creatures and lands and physics still remaining, albeit slightly. Everything became one large planet, bigger than the meteor itself. Huge continents separated by huge oceans, all teeming with the wildest forms of life. And thus our story begins, in a world where a simple forest had all the wonders and terrors of Minecraft, Terraria, and Super Mario forests rolled into one. Where an ocean was full of the most fearsome beasts and beauties and treasures. And where does our story begin, in a place as large and marvelous as this? It begins with a simple Koopa named Morton Koopa Jr., living his life with his father, Morton Koopa Sr., oblivious to all of the other mini stories we will explore that will end up connecting to stop a cosmic evil with intentions as of yet unknown. This is the story of many video game heroes and villains in order to advance only to the Middle Ages on a grand journey in one single planet. What will happen? Chapter 2, Life in the Mesa. Morton's POV. Morton Koopa Jr. put a clawed hand over his eye to block out the warm, dusty wind slashing at him where we stood. He was peculiar, at least. Not insane, yet eccentric. Unlike almost every Koopa that has or will ever live, he had a darker skin tone, like a muddy, grayish brown, rather than the soft mustard yellows of normal Koopas. He had a white head that was round, with a tan, fleshy muzzle, and 3 thin, long stripes of black hair sprouting up like the grass around him. He had eyebrows that looked like his hair, too, and they were so big they extended off his head. He had 4 sharp fangs on the top corners of his mouth, 2 on each side. An overbite. He had dark brown eyes with a gray star centered over his left one that stretched into his cheek and snout. A strange birthmark, indeed. All of his facial features were different from regular Koopas, who had beaks, yellow, oval-shaped heads, and big eyes. Rarely any hair at all, and no big star birthmarks anywhere. He was solidly big boned, too, and was burly built. His belly was sandpaper tan and four-ribbed, and his stubby gray feet, with 3 big toes on each, had similarly tan pads on their undersides. His large shell was so brown it was practically black, with a white encasing and several small spikes on the back with gray rings encircling them, of which, like other spikes on his shells, could be retracted for a smooth shell. Their claws or fingernails, too, could be retracted like that of a cat's. He also had thick, powerful arms and fists with crooked fingernails. This was all different from Koopas, too. They were thin, with light orange ribbed bellies and small legs, always covered with shoes or boots, leather or wood or the like. Their shells were smaller and clearly plated, with no spikes and with singular colors like red, green, or yellow. To top it off for Morton, he was diagnosed with Down syndrome and dyslexia, though at these Middle Ages, these kinds of diseases were not very well known, common, or studied in any way, and so Morton was seen as strange to everybody. He didn't know why his condition was like this, and neither did many others. This will hold true for centuries in this world. He also sounded like Tom Boca, if Tom Boca had a higher, squeakier, nasal voice. Back to Morton's actions in the present. He strode forward, his shirt woven from dry grass fluttering in the wind. He surveyed his surroundings, his home. He saw miles upon miles of reddish-orange mesa rock and sand, with great red mounds and towers of cream, black, and yellow-colored clay and terracotta. He lived in the mesa biome in a hot, dry region. Giant antlions, vultures, and strange living tumbleweeds Morton's father dubbed angry tumblers were among the most common creatures Morton had seen in the mesa, and for all he knew, besides a handful of scorpions and insects, those antlions, vultures, and angry tumblers were the only living creatures out there. Besides them, of course. Morton Koopa Sr. was Morton's father, and was a kind, jolly old fellow who looked almost identical to his son with the exception of being larger, older, having a yellow-colored shell, having darker scales, and no star birthmark. Also, Morton Koopa Sr. always wore a straw hat on his head that just barely fit, for it was quite small, and Sr. had promised Morton that he could wear it one day. Morton Jr., on the other hand, was a little snobby sometimes, but due to his disorders, he was also not very bright and overly happy, more than utterly cynical. He was independent in his own way, though, helping his father as they lived their lives in isolation. "Darn this wind," Morton wheezed in his strange, loud voice. Early that morning, Senior had tasked Morton to go fetch some water from a lake a mile away, and so far Morton's bucket had already lost about half of the collected water on the return trip, due to the wind. He strained himself to keep going forward, praying that the wind would die down, but his prayers were not met. Morton. Morton. Senior's voice, a very normal one, rose above the wind. Morton, you back yet? Call if you can hear me. I'm here, father, Morton called back. I'm coming. The wind is being annoying. Finally, the wind gradually began to end, and Morton was able to see Senior at one of those shacks made of pack clay and Joshua tree wood. They had a total of 7 shacks dotting the Mesa Plateau and surrounding mountains, for Morton and his father were semi-nomads who traveled about, but different resources were located at the different shacks, and wandering traders sometimes visited the farther shacks in the mountains. Here, son, Senior said, waving his hand as he hurried to Morton. I'll take that for you. Senior scooped a half-empty wooden bucket from Morton's hands and carried it towards the shack, calling over his shoulder. Would you collect the millet I got today? It'd be down at the farm in some sacks. Yes, father, Morton groaned, and he ran down to the millet field to fetch the food. That night, Morton found himself staying with his father, wrapped in cotton cloth blankets, sitting on stones in front of a small campfire. The firelight flickered on the faces, making it look like the 2 Koopas had some strange tribal face paint. Morton scooped some millets from his soup with a wooden spoon, devouring them hungrily after a long day of work. Encounter anything? Senior asked Morton under the stars. I saw a scorpion, but I left it alone, said Morton. I didn't have my knife on me. That's too bad, of Senior. I would like some fried scorpions in my millet soup. Morton coughed into the fire. You know, I think they're creepy. I ain't want nothing to do with them. Senior chuckled at the comment. Unless they're the big black ones that come from the caves, they won't attack you unless you do it first. And if you do, you should aim to slice off the stunner first, remember? Then hit him with some rocks and stab him to death. Yes, I know the drill, father. Good, Morton, good. How much water was in the lake today? Morton's gut twisted as he remembered the sight he'd seen earlier today. It was only half full. It was disappearing over the past 3 weeks, but half empty already? This must be the first drought of summer, Senior explained, looking up at the cloudless sky. This is gonna be tough, but we'll get through it. We've gone through 13 years like this, and I've gone through 21 more with your mother. Senior stopped abruptly. The pattern painted on his face was lost in shadow. Morton could tell he was thinking of Claude. Morton never knew his mother, because she died giving birth to him and his brother, Kevin, who had died before he was born. Morton only knew of Kevin because he saw a grave at one of the mountain shacks, and he asked Senior if he knew who it was for. It was entitled Kevin, too, but Morton didn't know how to read, and Senior never thought of teaching him. My only worry is that we will run out of water, said Senior. There was a pause. Maybe we could head up to one of our mountain shacks and check the lake there. In fact, we will. We'll leave tomorrow morning. Morton nodded, unfazed. Senior was the kind of person to make big decisions on a whim like this. Finish your soup, then go help me pack, ordered Senior, finishing his own soup and getting to his feet with a grunt. Yes, father. Now, something I have with the chapters in this book is that at the end of each one, there is a reference guide. Since there's so many video games in different elements of them woven through into this world, I thought, based on my descriptions and characters, I could put footnotes sort of so that you would know what these things were from, what games were they from. So, for example, the first one, Morton Koopa Jr. is from Mario, and Senior is a fictional character based on Mario. In fact, he's the only original character in this whole book, besides species with names. But anyway, back to it. Koopas are from Mario as well. Number 2. Morton's grass shirt and Senior's straw hat is Don't Star's grass suit and straw hat, respectively. Number 3. Morton and Senior live in a mesa biome from Minecraft. And number 4. The giant antlions, vultures, and strange living tumbleweeds won for the dubbed angry tumblers. All the antlions, vultures, and angry tumblers from Terraria, respectively. The big back ones that came from the caves, all the sand poachers from Terraria too. And that I think we'll leave it off for today. I don't know, I think I might continue reading this because my second channel doesn't have that much, and I thought it should have some. So tune in for tomorrow for the next part of the Tale of the Multiverses. And if you like this, please like and subscribe. As always, it really helps. And thank you. See you in the next one. Bye-bye.